Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee with Craig, where we talk about all things firearms, firearms policy, politics, culture, media, you name it. We're talking about all things guns, all the gun time. But hey, do us a favor. Please make sure, if you have not already done so, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe the page. And for those of you who are watching us on YouTube and on Facebook, make sure you hit that notification button. That way you'll be notified as soon as we go live. You can participate in the live chat as the program is taking place. Let's go ahead and get real quick into today's topic. As you know, FPC is very, very busy, in particular these days in the courts, fighting for our fundamental rights. And we have a situation here in the state of California where individuals, well, let's be honest, not everybody is able to exercise their Second Amendment rights. In particular, those who have been convicted of nonviolent felonies and/or have had their should have had their rights restored. Well, we're working here in the state of California to, in fact, do that. So, FPC has filed an injunction to restore these individuals' rights. And to explain a little bit more about this particular topic, as well as this particular injunction, we have Associate Attorney with the Firearms Policy Coalition, Mr. Bill Sack.
Hey, Craig. How are you?
I am doing phenomenal, sir. It is always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Always good to be here.
I got to ask, man, Cleveland Indians?
Yeah, so I'm in Philadelphia, so I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Phillies fan. Go Fightins. But I also am a 90s baby, and so I grew up loving old 80s movies. And I wear the Indians hat for the movie Major League because I'm a big Willie Mays Hayes fan. So I'm an Indians fan for a Indians team that never actually existed.
Well, you know what? I cannot be mad at you for that. All right, so hey, talk with us a little bit about this injunction.
Yeah, so the case is Linton v. Bonta, and actually looking back, it's a summary judgment motion that I want to talk to you about that we're working on most recently in this case. So the case, as you mentioned in the introduction, is really about rights restoration. So there are frequently in multiple different states avenues by which individuals who have lost their Second Amendment rights as the result of a conviction, typically a felony conviction, that they can go through either through expungement or through a governor's pardon, and they can have their rights restored. And under the right circumstances, when the statutes are written properly, these individuals get a full restoration of their civil rights, including their firearm possession rights. What California does, and the reason that we've brought this suit is even when individuals who have a prohibiting conviction, and in this case, it's all nonviolent felony convictions that we're talking about with our three individual plaintiffs here, even when they go through the various state restoration processes that apply to them, in this case, I think it was Arizona, Washington, and Texas are where the three different individuals went through their rights restoration process. California still says, yeah, we don't care. A conviction is a conviction. We don't care that it's been expunged or that you've received a pardon. We don't care that your rights have been restored according to the state where the infraction took place. We still say that the conviction counts as prohibiting, and so you are still subject to that lifetime prohibition. The suit says, in short, that there's just no historical analog to that sort of prohibition. And without any, it fails the Bruin test and does not meet constitutional muster under the Second Amendment.
It's funny that you provide a process. Now, here's the thing: you can provide a process by which you're supposed to get your rights restored. I mean, the whole point of this is you go through the process of proving that you have taken every step to now be a law-abiding citizen, to do everything above board, to just, I mean, everything possible that you can do to try and make things right. And yet, and still, what they're saying is, yeah, we don't care, because in the end, their goal is to, once again, keep as many people as possible from being able to own or possess firearms.
Yeah, I mean, it's just typical California being California. Anything that they can do to establish another hurdle and disenfranchise more people, they are interested in doing that. Despite the fact that their legislative brethren in other states have said, look, this individual has paid their debt to society. They've done what it is they need to do to rehabilitate themselves. And accordingly, we are going to restore all of their civil rights to them as if this conviction never happened. California doesn't want to do that. California wants to remember forever.
Well, and what's interesting about it is, once again, these are not cases where individuals were convicted of these things like, a year or two ago. These are decades ago.
Yeah, I mean, the convictions, and let's remember, like, we live in one of the most over criminalized, and especially from a felony perspective, most felonious societies in the Western world. There have been books written and studies done that show that the average law-abiding individual commits 3 felonies unknowingly every day. The sorts of felonies that we see in these cases are frequently things as silly as not paying taxes on mowing lawns in your neighborhood, or lying about a fix-it ticket about window tints, or opening a ketchup bottle and then putting it back on the shelf at the supermarket. I mean, these felonies, these are not individuals that have undertaken seriously violent conduct and really are a danger to society to the extent that we can't trust them to be able to protect themselves effectively.
Well, now, where does California stand right now in terms of other states and how they treat expungements like this? I mean, are there other states that are as bad as California, or is California just kind of the lone state out there, or is California the norm?
So California's not the norm. California's never the norm.
I kind of knew that when I
This
asked.
Yeah, the rights restoration issue is somewhat complicated and really is a patchwork of laws all over the country. So when an individual is potentially prohibited, there are 2 different layers of prohibition that they need to worry about. There's the state level and then also the federal level. So you can, upon a felony conviction, for example, or an applying misdemeanor conviction, end up prohibited by the feds and by the state, which means that you then need to have your rights restored by both the feds and by the state in which the conviction took place. So there are various expungement and governor's pardon statutes in place in multiple states. But there are even some states, Missouri comes immediately to mind, where the state statute was written with the full intent of individuals who go through the expungement process to receive all of their rights back. And these individuals that go through the Missouri process, according to the state of Missouri, are no longer prohibited from exercising their firearm rights. But the feds, because of a technicality in the phrasing of the expungement statute, say that expungement statute is not expungy enough. And so the feds maintain that you're still a prohibited individual. So even though the state intends and has a process for you to be able to get your rights back in Missouri, for example, the feds still say no. So California, unshockingly, is not interested in playing ball with individuals who want to exercise their rights here. But the rights restoration issue, this case really highlights that the issue is a broader problem throughout the country.
Well, and once again, as you stated, as they continue to make more and more things felonies here in these United States, it's going to be more and more important that we are in a position to be able to exercise those, to be able to get those rights back in many cases. And we know a lot of our folks are of the mind that they are going to decide not to comply with certain laws. Well, here's the thing, folks. Let me tell you, understand the consequences of when you say you're not going to comply, do yourself a favor. Take some time, read and know what the penalties are. Know what you're putting yourself and your family into when you decide that you're not going to comply with unconstitutional laws, because this can lead up to and including not just tens if not hundreds of $1,000s in legal fees, but also once again, the loss of your fundamental right to keep and bear arms.
Sure. I mean, look, compliance is a personal choice.
Yes, I agree.
And that's not something that I'm here to tell an individual what they should or should not do, or how they choose to make their decisions for themselves and for
Right.
their family. That's certainly not something that either myself or FPC, for that matter, is interested in doing. And in fact, you will see that in FPC communications and in our lawsuits at this point,
Mm-hmm.
we do not use the term law abiding,
Right.
because we're not interested in law abiding individuals, because to the extent that laws become increasingly unconstitutional and in violation of our natural rights, it's not about who is law abiding and who is not. It's
Right.
about who's a peaceable individual. So you'll see us use the phrase peaceable individuals. We believe that all peaceable individuals, individuals who are not interested in causing unprovoked and unjust violence on other people,
Mm-hmm.
should have the right to keep and bear arms and to protect themselves effectively.
Oh no, I appreciate very much appreciate the clarification. I guess my whole point is just know what you're putting yourself. Know what. Know if you're going to make the decision, and I'm a big believer in people being able to make that decision regarding compliance. Make sure it's an informed decision.
Amen. Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Knowing what it is you're getting yourself into and walking in with eyes wide open is, yeah, that's always good advice. Always good advice. And for that matter, don't take the advice of the local cops or the local
No.
prosecutors. They are not the ones to ask what's allowed and what's not allowed and what the penalties are. Consult your local attorneys.
Attorneys, not the guy at the gun shop. By the way, just so you know, not the guy, the guy at the counter at the gun shop.
Not your buddy that used to be a sheriff.
Yes.
No,
No, because
no.
in particular in
Attorney.
states like California, where the gun laws are very, very confusing and change quite often, it's important to know your local attorneys. And by the way, the organizations that are fighting for your rights that know and understand those laws, organizations like, the Firearms Policy Coalition. Now, speaking of that, where can
Would you
folks
look at
follow
that?
the work that you're doing there at FPC Law?
Thanks, Craig. So our main website is firearmspolicy.org. From there, you can sign up, become a member, send us lots of money that we will turn into lots of lawsuits. If you want to head over to our legal action page directly and see all of the cases that our wonderful and esteemed legal team is involved in, you can go to fpclegal.org. There you can see all of the cases that we are currently fighting on behalf of the people, separated now not only chronologically by current events, but also geographically by circuit, so you can see what cases we're involved in your area.
Fantastic, sir. Once again, thank you so very much for all of the work that you do in fighting for us. You guys, I'm going to tell you, especially lately, you guys have been doing a yeoman's job in fighting for our fundamental rights. We very much appreciate you and all the work that you do.
We appreciate you, Craig, and thanks to all of our members and constituents. Without them, none of this is possible.
It most definitely is not. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bill Sack. All right, folks. Well, look, like he told you, the work that goes on at FPC does not happen without you. So how can you support? How can you support the organization? Well, first of all, you can become a member of the Firearms Policy Coalition. That's right. Join FPC. In order to join FPC, all you got to do is go to joinfpc.org. That's joinfpc.org. It's very simple. You go there, put in your information, and bam, you can become a member today. As I always like to say, you are either part of the solution or you're part of the problem. Don't be part of the problem. Become a member today. By the way, while you're there, you can also make donations to the organization. But hey, if you want to donate and you want to get something cool out of it, here's what you do. Go to fpcgear.com. That's fpcgear.com. It is the place to go to get all of your cool Pro 2A swag. I mean, we have t-shirts, we have hoodies, we've got all sorts of cool stuff that you can use, that you can have in order to support the Second Amendment, in order to show your support for the Second Amendment. Folks, the best part about it is that every dollar that you spend goes right back into the fight for a right to keep and bear arms. So you can support the Second Amendment and you can look good doing it. That's fpcgear.com. All right, folks, that's going to be it for today's program. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. Remember, this is a fight for our civil rights. You got to use them or you're going to lose them. You guys take care.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.